In March and April of 2023, the Upsidedown investigated Constitution Hill, capturing compelling evidence of the prisoners and the guards who might still haunt the structure, making it one of the most haunted jails that we've ever investigated.
Anything that can hear me? What? Wait, what do you think?
Give me a number of the prison cell you were held in.
Oh, what is that? Okay, so just imagine, just for 1 second, it's 1892, cue old-timey music, and Joburg is rapidly growing, all thanks to gold, drawing people from far to get a slice of the wealth that is buried within the soil. I can just imagine getting to this brand new town. You know, nothing is really built, nothing is really there, and you are basically building a life from scratch. I think that would actually be pretty awesome. But as you can imagine, with taverns that are opening and more people gathered in the town, the more the population grows, the more there is crime escalation, and therefore a prison is of course needed in the area, and so a prison is built. This jail mainly housed mining prisoners from the area and was a relatively small building to begin with. And now we're going to fast forward 4 years later. So President Paul Kruger builds this fort around this prison, protecting the country against the British. After the botched Jameson raid of somewhere in the 90s, 1890s, 1890, 1895, 1896. I think it's 1896. And then the war strikes and would rage on from 1899 to 1902. Plot twist. The British actually takes over hold of the fort and ends up incarcerating military instead. Now you have this massive structure that was built to protect you. Instead, you are now trading places with the mere person that was supposed to be locked up in there. You are now living in a prison that was meant for your enemy. The war rages on, many lives are lost, and it ends in 1902. It isn't until the war ends that Joburg finally claims back hold of their fort and adds a native cell, as they called it, in 1904, which is when the prison unfortunately takes an even darker turn. Races are split up, so whites on the one side of the prison and black prisoners on the other. The treatment that these prisoners were subject to is absolutely horrendous, and something that I would not wish upon my worst enemy. They were tortured and starved. They were actually really just being treated inhumanely. The prison also incarcerated a lot of political activists, such as Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, who were very much against apartheid. Then later, in 1910, a female section is built. And this side of the prison also houses very interesting characters. One would be the infamous serial killer, Daisy de Melker. Daisy, Daisy,
give me your answer, do.
Who murders her first and second husband, as well as her son, via poisoning. Daisy gets caught, spends some time in jail, and is the second female to be hanged. So you can just imagine A prison that has so much dark history, it should, of course, leave some energy behind. Could this be one of the most haunted jails in South Africa? Sit back, grab your popcorn, because we're about to find out. What are you expecting for tonight?
We're hoping and believing that we are going to have some activities.
I'm hoping that tonight we get some good evidence, maybe one or two photos of an apparition or something.
I'm just hoping that we get something, so I expect that we have it, and just some interaction activity doings.
I think tonight, I'm not actually sure what I'm expecting. I'm kind of eagerly looking forward to what the political part of this jail is, and the political turmoil that was part of this specific, let's call it cell block. But I guess it's something that we'll just have to see.
Is there guards looking at us from the tower? Are the inmates maybe looking at us from the cell windows? Can you hear me?
What are you seeing?
We were just starting. We were standing in the middle of the courtyard when Quentin from Sinister Pics and Rogue Urbex thought he might have seen something out of the corner of his eye. Looked like a person walking past the doorway of a storeroom. The storeroom used to be a prison cell.
Looks like literally something doing this. And I don't know if it's the way that the light is shining.
Entering the storeroom, we caught two amazing EVPs. One sounded like a person trying to talk to us. While the other, more of a groan or a moan. Something was definitely trying to make contact.
You know, like it's weird, but I feel like it's kind of a feeling of almost being weary. We've got two devices on the table. The one is this little green light over here that we put over here, and if you touch that, the light will go from green to orange to red. The second one that I've put on the table is a device, but it's going to speak English. So
The ghost comm was running, and something told us that maybe we shouldn't be using English, so we switched over to Zulu.
So we put it over onto Zulu, and if you talk into this, it will give us an indication of maybe what you're trying to say. Leg. Was there something wrong with your leg?
Just spiked.
Did it spike? Was there something wrong with your leg? Are you coming closer?
We just weren't getting communication. It's like they didn't want to talk to us. So we decided at this stage, it's better to move over to the larger holding cells.
This couldn't have been pleasant.
Standing in the cell, looking at the beds lined up in the small, cold, dark room, it's hard to imagine the emotions that people must have gone through, the sadness, the loneliness, the anger. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy.
Can you maybe give us a sign that you're here? What was that? It just became incredibly weird.
Yeah, I did. What was that?
What happened?
I don't know, I heard a sound from back there.
If you're a lieutenant, can we please have permission to speak to you or either one of your bosses or your soldiers?
Again, they're just not talking. It's almost as if something's blocking them, a boss, a guard, a warden. And as soon as we mention it, we get a knock.
I'm sure as a boss, you've got no problem speaking with us. Can you tap on the wall so we know where you are? Thank you. So we have decided to make our way back to the old fort because we're not getting much down at cell block 5. So we're going to give it a quick investigation, see what happens, and take it from there.
I'm walking through this passage and I hear this growl coming from the cell to my right. Literally. Yeah, came out here. It really freaked me out.
Benita's just walking through the hallways to get B-roll, to get some cool shots. And this is what she gets? Are you kidding me? We're definitely coming back here.
Are we going to use the necrophonic? Because we seem to be having some difficulty with the SB7 for some reason, which was working less than half an hour ago. Oh, my focal's working. Yeah. Guys, we need money. Please give us Okay. Is there anybody here? Can you make a noise? Can you come and talk into this box that I have in front of me? Can you give us a name? George. George?
We'd established a definite connection with George. It was time to make this a little bit interesting. I thought maybe, just maybe, he'll lead us to his cell. So I started asking questions.
Can you maybe make a knock or a tap or tell us what number? Can you give me a number of the prison cell you were held in? Other room.
Other room. Yeah.
Are we talking to our left or upstairs? Left.
Down.
Down. Did you hear down?
Down.
Okay, so turn where?
Almost sounded like it said rivals.
And that's what I kind of heard. So I need you to say clearly stop. I think I was a stop. I was stop. Left or right?
George is telling us exactly where to go. The experiment was working, but we missed it. Let's just get Benita in the cell and see if this works.
While investigating, Rivers gets a response on ghost comms that says female. So he thought it would be a good idea to put me in a cell with George to see if maybe we can establish better communication. George, do you want to come talk to me? Yes. Is there anything you want to tell me? Standing in the cell with George, instead of feeling scared like I normally would, I kind of felt sad and very empathetic towards George. I really think he just wanted to talk. How long have you been here? Do you get ready? Rivers asked me to do an EVP to see if maybe we can get some communication from George, but it's not necessary because George decides to audibly communicate. Is it George that we have with us in here? Did I just hear your voice while I was talking just now? Can you tell me if you were a prisoner in here? You clearly see the camera moving, but I'm the only one in there. I heard a male voice talking with me.
Well, at the same time
At
as
the same time as me. Is it George that we have with us in here?
Time to move to the cells upstairs. It's very creepy. Feels like there's eyes watching at every single corner of this place.
And everybody come to the front of their cells.
Did you hear that? That was a moaning, yeah.
What? Was there a moaning?
I heard that loud and clear.
I can feel energy, but like, there's somebody in here.
I'm going to put this device on the floor here, and this is going to make communication easier for you. We can feel you here, we can feel you around us.
I'm in one of the cells and we're busy trying to establish communication with the ghost comp. The whole time I'm sort of looking out the door and I can see Benita moving back and forth and growing a little bit restless.
Me too, that's why I have the camera showing me. Because I also see movement.
I go out and she explains that she might be seeing something down the passage, which we have all in some way experienced throughout the night. What better thing to do than go and put a cat ball down there and see what happens? And boom, there it is. We got it on video.
Wait, right there, the cat ball!
Oh my word.
We just validated what we saw down the fucking passage.
Here, what is that?
Now we're talking. We're getting good stuff. Let's see what else we can do.
I can see you move down the passage there. Can you make this noise back to me, just so we know that you're here with us?
Was that a voice? Did somebody just say what?
Is that a voice? Well, thank you. You sound quite young. Yo, chills.
The further you communicate, the more you get to know what you're dealing with.
I think you're a prisoner. I think you were kept in these cells. You've made yourself known. I think you're trying to get our attention away from something, and I don't know what that something is, so I need you to be more clear with us right now. Buried. Or was he buried? Are you dead? Are you acknowledging the fact that you're dead?
We're in the middle of a session asking questions, trying to put the puzzle pieces together, when I look towards the cells and I swear I see a foot.
It was like an illuminated, almost like I would like to say a foot.
Oh, the women's jail at night.
Shouldn't have closed that So is there any lovely ladies that maybe want to make their presence known? Give us a knock or a tap. Maybe you can say something. Can maybe somebody whisper? Can you tell us where to come? You filthy fuckers. Jesus. Benita's hidden a cat ball somewhere. Oh, down there. I believe that you guys had quite a hard life here. I don't think that anything that I can see was actually comfortable or human in any sort of way. And we'd love to talk to somebody and hear their story and find out what it was like being here. But we need to know where you are.
We were just about to move on when I heard the sound from upstairs, almost as if something had been thrown or deliberately dropped onto the floor.
Go check. Oh, what? It was one of the light covers.
After quite a thorough investigation of inside the women's jail, we just weren't getting any further than what we were. I decided that this is probably the time that we need to move on to one of my least favorite places in the world, and that would be Daisy de Melker's cell. Daisy de Melker is one person that I can honestly say absolutely terrifies me.
Drivers, Daisy's watching you.
The way she did the killings, the people she killed, and how she was eventually executed, for some reason has left this imprint of terror in my mind ever since I can remember. Thinking about going into Daisy de Melker's cell it scared me. The strangest thing was that when we went to investigate Daisy de Melker's cell, which was open the afternoon, and we could open every single cell door around hers, but for some reason her door, we couldn't find the key and we couldn't open it.
That's weird, eh? Daisy.
I could think was that this woman is going to appear, a full-bodied apparition, and she is out to get me.
Daisy. As jy kan my hoor, kan jy miskien buite kom?
My Afrikaans is die beste.
Hier so langs my kom sit. Hoekom het jy jou man en jou seuns doodgemaak? I was actually thinking, can you imagine if we start seeing shadows underneath the doorway? Did any of you ladies sympathize to the struggle? Is that why you were incarcerated? You seem to have a pretty good life here if I'm looking at your cells compared to most of the other people. Did you consider yourself something special? Are you maybe coming through the courtyard there? Are you coming into the courtyard? I think it's time that we go have a look at Isolation cell. Oh yeah. As you can tell, Yanni's quite excited. Oh yeah.
Super excited to see the isolation cells. For some reason I'm just drawn to this.
Can you just imagine being in this?
So Rabas tells us to pick a particular cell to basically go sit in. And for some reason I was drawn to this particular cell.
I'm drawn towards this one.
So guys, we're going to lock ourselves in each cell, but there's the ghost comm that we're going to put on, and we're going to leave it running while we're inside the cells. Then we have the cat balls, which are down the middle, basically in front of almost every cell. So if these go off, that means there's movement. We've closed the gates. Yeah, the size is very small.
I'm standing in my cell and I am feeling super uncomfortable. It feels like there's someone in the cell with me. It feels like, you know, that moment where if I'm gonna turn around, I might just see something. I just knew that I wasn't alone. I can feel the floor moving.
Like somebody's in there with you?
Yes. Is there someone in the cell with me?
Getting in the cell, I'm closing the door and I sit down with my head down. And of all things that comes up in my mind, there's somebody taking his own life in a cell.
I just got this weird vision of somebody hanging himself in the...
Look up, and sure enough, there's a bent bar in the roof of the cell.
If you look at this roof bar,
Is everybody sitting down?
No.
Let's sit down, let's relax a little.
I'm propped up against the gates. And Drivers is like, sit down, get comfortable. And I'm like, no way. No way. So just the idea again is giving me like mad goosebumps.
Cat ball.
There's another one going off.
We're getting amazing responses on the ghost comm. The cat balls are going off in sequence as if somebody is walking down the passage.
So we have the cat balls going off, Yanni's vision, we get the word suicide. And all I can think is that I just want to leave. I am getting really, really scared. And then it happens. I hear this breath right in my ear. All I could think was, you need to run. And the next moment I just bolt. I leave.
What? No, wait, Benita, just relax. Breathe. What's wrong?
Benita is terrified. Something has definitely freaked her out. I had to stop her and calm her down because this is what we're there for.
I just heard someone breathing very heavily next to me.
Venita, just what exactly did you hear?
So just after it said suicide, someone breathed very heavily right next to me, but like it was audible, like loud.
And Yanni, you had a vision of somebody committing suicide.
I had a vision of somebody hanging. Now look at this bar, it's bent.
Oh, there.
After a situation like that, you kind of do feel disappointed in yourself because the whole reason you are there is to find exactly that. But I do know what drives my passion for paranormal is the fact that I am scared of it.
After the events, we decide, let's go in there alone. Myself and Benita go inside isolation and start asking questions.
Can you maybe Tell us if you are stuck here.
In the spot, stuck here in the spot.
Do you mean stuck in your cell?
Length. Was it for a long time? Record.
You get this feeling of sadness. I mean, if you think about it, that's what isolation was. These poor prisoners will be trapped there for eternity. Constitution Hill is by far one of the most complex investigations that we have done this far. The thoughts, emotions, and pain that went through that building, and just imagining how those prisoners were treated, fills me with rage and sadness at the same time. And what we experienced there is something that we will never forget, and we hold Constitution in high regard and close to our hearts. Constitution Hill is a reminder of just what human beings can do and what they can overcome. And this is something that will always remain close to us. One thing I know is that the Upsidedown Paranormal will investigate the haunted halls of the old fort, the prison cells, and the women's jail again.